First Alert update. Charges are formally filed in a Fond du Lac murder case. Annaka Trudell faces felony counts of first-degree intentional homicide and armed robbery. Dawson Miller is charged with being party to crimes of armed robbery and felony murder and is also accused of aiding a felon. In court documents filed today, prosecutors say Trudell stabbed the victim, Ashley Callow, after an argument escalated during a drug deal on February 14th. Police found the victim inside a car after it crashed near West Follett and North Main Streets in Fond du Lac. An autopsy revealed that Callow had been stabbed with a kitchen knife multiple times in the arm and chest. Last week, Trudell's bond was set at $2 million. Miller is being held on $1 million.